Hi, my name is Geneva Walker and I'm just an ordinary Hoosier. I was born in Fleming, Kentucky in 1955, and I spent the first 9 years of my life in Kentucky, and then we moved to Indiana. We were here until I was a sophomore in high school. Then we moved back. After I graduated, we moved back to Indiana, and this is where I've been. I'm one of 11 children. I'm the middle child. My mother had 5 sons, then me, then 2 more boys, before 3 girls. When I was about 9 years old, my family decided to move to Indiana because my mom didn't want my oldest brothers working in a coal mine like my dad for their health. And so my dad and 2 oldest brothers went ahead and come to Indiana and got us a house and everything. We were in Indiana, a couple years, and then my oldest brother was killed in a car accident. He was hit by a drunk driver taking my dad to work. And my second oldest brother was home on leave from the Marines. And that made a big change in our life. He had insurance money. He had never married or anything, my brother. And he left the insurance to my mom and dad, and they bought a house and moved us kids all into a bigger house. And we all still had to share bedrooms, but at least there was more than 2 bedrooms. It changed our lives a lot because my dad was disabled. They didn't think that he would ever walk again or anything. And I know that because of the system, and there was 11 of children, people looked at us odd, like we were just welfare cases, and we had never had any kind of aid until that accident disabled my dad and killed my brother. And from that time on, it was very, very hard. Every month my mom would have to go and fill out the same papers. Then she had to try to find work because Dad couldn't work, and it just changed our whole lives. But I think that it made us closer in a lot of ways because us kids had to depend on each other and hang closer together. As the oldest daughter, from the time I was very little, being the only girl with all those boys, I was never allowed to stay at home. When Mom and Dad went, I went. So all of my life has been spent with the elderly because that's what my mom and dad did, was go and visit the elderly. And that's who I'm the most comfortable with now as an adult. They're my passion, older people. Yes, I have spent a lot of time taking care of the elderly and spending time with them. But I have always enjoyed that. And then after I was grown even, I would take Mommy and Daddy and drive them to see the elders and spend time with them. And, you know, I tried to glean information and grow in my own knowledge and my family. And I started very young working with the genealogy and that sort of stuff. And I developed a passion for cemeteries. I can spend hours and hours in a cemetery just browsing or sitting even. I feel very at home there, I guess, because there's so many stories there. I have an aunt that I travel a lot with, but when I was a teenager, she was still unmarried, and so we sort of run into each other here and there, and we were more like sisters, as my mom's baby sister. And so I still get to spend a lot of special time with her, doing little trips. Some of the things that I guess are less known about me is by the time I was 5 years old, I could already read 5th and 6th grade reading. I helped a couple of my older siblings with learning them because I learned through myself. And when I was probably about 3 years old, we lived next to a school. And I would go to the school and stay all day. And if I got sleepy or anything, the teacher would say, "Just a minute," and she would take me back to the house. And I've always had a passion for learning, and I love school. I didn't go on to school, though, because I got a job to help my mom and dad. The one thing that I did do for myself, though, when I was a junior in high school, I got roped into getting into the Miss Junior Kentucky Letcher County pageant. And I did pretty good in that. I was one of the 5 finalists. And so the next year, I was a senior, and so my home ec teacher said, you know, we really need to do this. And so I got into the Miss Letcher County pageant, and I was the 3rd runner-up and Miss Congeniality. My mom passed away in 2001, and we always thought my dad would go first because he was sickly and Mom was healthy. So we were always looking at Daddy, and lost Mommy. And that was very hard. But when Mommy died, that gave me the opportunity to be my dad's girl again, because I was always his little girl. Whenever we would go anywhere in a car when I was little, where I was already so small, I would stand at his shoulder and he would pin me to the seat with his shoulder. And if he almost hit a rabbit or something, I'd beat the fire out of him. And my dad's legally blind, so I don't know how he was driving to start with, but he did. And he would every day save me a piece of his lunch from the mines. And I would be sitting on the bottom step of wherever we lived with a reader. And before he could even get the coal dust off, he would sit with me and let me read the same book over and over, and never got tired of it. And those were such special times to me. And now, as an adult, where he can't see well, he has a reading machine, he can see to read some, but I read to him now still as a grown woman. And I have the blessings of having that special time with him again. I lived with my oldest brother for a while, him and his wife, whenever they was raising their children, and I felt just like a 3rd parent, and they treated me that way. And then when I had been married a couple years, and I never had any children of my own. My sister had a baby, and as a little girl, I'm partial to girls, even though all I had was boys to raise. And then she got pregnant with her 2nd child, and she was so big and everything, she couldn't take care of the first one, so I got to keep that one for a while. And then I had a granddaughter that was born in the Philippines in a time of war, and they brought her home to Indiana to us, and I had her for almost 2 years. And she gave me a lot of joy, because when she came, she was just a small toddler, and so I got a lot of her awe moments of her learning and discovery. And as a young woman, she's still very important to me. God has just given me a special assignment a lot in life, and I feel like He has gave me the opportunities to be able to fulfill them and hopefully be a good light to the children that I had influence at their learning years.
Geneva Bates Walker is a very special person in my life. She was always there for me when I was a young girl, let me stay with her during the summer. We spent so many good times together, got to take so many wonderful family trips together. We did a lot of fun things. We had fun. That's all I have to say, because she was mean to us when we were kids. That's all I have to say, because you were mean to us when we were kids.
But she loves me as a woman.
She made us sit in the corner.
Lay on your nose, on the linoleum.
If we cried, she'd tell us to shut up, but she'd give us something to cry for.
That's what you do. There should be more of that in today's world. Look what good kids you all turned out to be. I was doing a remodel at Walmart, and he was a job runner from Michigan. And I had, at that time, quit smoking. I wasn't smoking at that time, and they kept taking smoke breaks and taking smoke breaks, and I said, I'm taking an extra break. And so I started smoking with them to get that extra break in there. And then we'd sit there and have our breaks, and I'd say, I'm going to be your friend. He said, I don't have no friends. I don't have no friends. And I said, I'm going to be your friend. And he married me. He moved to Indiana, and we've been together for a very long time, and a very long time yet to come.
I love you, baby.
The other thing that God has blessed me with in my life is my sons. I have wonderful sons that I have raised, and I feel very blessed to have had them in my life. And they've made fine young men, and they have good careers and good lives of their own. I do feel like I've had a very, very blessed life. I come from a large family. We do family gatherings, family reunions. My family siblings, whenever they have gatherings, they always include us, me and my husband, my kids when they're home. I just feel like God has overwhelmed me with blessings when I was young, because I had to take care of so many children and do so much housework and chores and everything. I never wanted that for myself. And He took care of that, I guess. That I have experienced a lot of learning and growth through my extended family, for which I'm thankful.